April and May floods that hit our province. It is required that today we are able to say that our province is still firm in ensuring that many of our people who have been in the mass care centers, we keep to our commitment that we made with my MEC when we assumed the office, that no one will have Christmas still in the mass care centers. Since day one of our work, we've continued really with our work, and today we are here announcing the massive progress in regard to housing the victims of floods who were displaced from their homes. We made the commitments that as a province, as a government of KwaZulu-Natal, will ensure that our people move out of those mass care centers. We have just processed a total of 1,046 families who were in the mass care centers, and we are housing 531 of them in this building called the Astra building. From the agony of being deprived of privacy and the uncertainty of our people, we have practically been able to restore dignity of our flood victims. The families will now be able to regroup and really be able to chart their way forward and their future in habitable places. As government, we have been hard at work to assist all our communities to recover through these tragic events that befell us. We announced today that one of the sad chapters of all those who lost their homes is being partially closed. In the next 7 days, there will be no flood victims that will still be in the mass care centers in KwaZulu-Natal. As government, we have mobilized all the available resources and undertaking every effort to ensure that as we rebuild and rehouse the flood victims, no one is left behind. 3 buildings are being made available today, starting with this called the Astra building here in Russell Street. There is also a building called Oflati building, which is in Signum. And then we have another building in Pine Town. And we always try that the residents are at least housed to the places, not far from where they are residents. Of course, the limitation that we have is still there. The mass care centers that will be shut down as a result of today's developments are the Gospel Church. The Gospel Church community moved here last night, and they've now been able to settle. Chesterville community. We also today received the Mount View Hall community. Tomorrow we are going to be receiving Umlazi K, Emmaus, Elinyama, and Nazareth. Other relocations that we plan for this week is Impola Hall. People from Impola Hall, Faro Hall, Ntuthuko Hill, Marion Ridge, and Truro Hall in Pietermaritzburg. The ones that are moving from Impola, Chelimnyama, all those areas in the west will be moving to the Pinetown area, while the ones that are moving from Umlazi, they will be moving to residents such as this one. In addition to this, we've been able to process 1,046 families who were in the mass care centers, housing 531 of them already. There is also an additional to 191 that already are here in the Ofleti 120. that we're going to be putting on the Ofleti Road. In KwaDuguza, already the work as well there has continued. Last week alone, we've been able to close 5 mass care centers, and we are now down in KwaDuguza to only 4 mass care centers. All the 4 will be closed by Monday. The work that is continuing there that has delayed us was because we needed services such as water and electricity to be connected to those temporary residential units. The only remaining mass care center that we are now finalizing, today the MEC will be signing and the close off of that, and over this weekend we are going to be moving families to the transitional emergency accommodation. We must hasten to raise our concern about the continued resistance by some of the community members. Particularly, we've seen that in Pietermaritzburg in the northern areas, where on several occasions we have been obstructed by communities in intervening. We have the land there that belongs to government, and we had already had a constructor on site, and when the construction was continuing there, the communities there disrupted the work of the contractors, and they've not been able to then build those temporary residential houses with the not on my backyard syndrome that persists amongst our communities. This is very clear that we have made strides. If you consider that we originally had 14,500 people that were displaced, with 4,983 total that is left, that were left homeless, that were totally left homeless. 7 months later, we close to pronouncing that no flood victims will spend Christmas again on the mass care centers. Where we are completing, the work that we have undertaken, we have also made sure that the devastating floods that persist in an unprecedented manner, we as government really are thinking about ensuring that where we build in places that will not be putting our communities vulnerable to the flooding that normally takes place in our province. Our recovery measures have been coordinated primarily in our mines. We have been able to address and alleviate the impact of communities and restore dignity of our people by putting them in better shelters than what they've been living under. Lest we forget that we successfully implemented immediate humanitarian assistance in the form of social relief, of distress grants, in the form of foods, in the form of water, in the form of shelters, sanitation, clothing, blankets, where the government was able to provide to almost all community members that were affected. We've also been able to assist our communities with the burial assistance during that hard time. We were also able to help our communities with the death certificates, identity documents, the postmortems, the health department, as well as the SAPS continue to provide the support to all the families. The health services and social development continues to provide the psychosocial support. We've also undertaken to do an extensive work to restore the basic services such as water, electricity, sanitation, in many of the areas where the sanitation water and roads were washed away. The reality is that our province has had to face very bleak years through the El Nino, now the La Nina that we are facing on a prolonged basis. We also note that the contribution by private sector partners such as the Old Mutual, the Collins Mashawane Foundation, as we are now certain that with the Old Mutual and the Colin Mashawane Foundation, we have 3 permanent houses here in eThekwini that are now ready for occupation by some of our communities, and they will be able to be completed before Christmas. Whilst these families are housed in the transitional emergency accommodation, the process of preparing the land for permanent houses is ongoing. Each one of the shelters, as we indicated before, we've been able to link each one of the shelters to a building sites, and to date, the planning processes are ongoing, such as the designs, the EIAs, the Bloomer application, and the approvals. All that work is ongoing. We do wish to thank our citizens for their patience. Every day, really, we have been seized, myself and my MEC, we have been seized with the task of ensuring that our province fully recover from this recent setback. In some areas, things may have taken longer than what we anticipated. The rebuilding of infrastructure in some instances also taken months to complete. All the needs at once have often been stretched, and at times we had to attend to some of the life-saving and critical areas first before we could be able to attend to the others. We are working as fast as we can, as quickly as we can, to end the frustration and the anxieties that our communities are facing. In this regard, we would like to express our sincere thanks to all the communities for their patience, calm, and understanding as we continue to work tirelessly to get our province to rise again from these devastating times. Of course, we did indicate that our laws, the laws of the country dictates that there is a certain period that is designated as the disaster period, and with all the planning processes that we've had to put in place to put those temporary residential housing, but also to put these temporary emergency houses like this one, we've had to go through the normal processes of procurement. And some of you would understand that the normal processes of procurement takes a long time because you've got to advertise for a month, and where there is a number of people who've put forward their facilities up for rental, that process must be adjudicated in an open, transparent manner that ensures that there are no rules that are being overlooked. So that is why in other instances it has taken more than what we had anticipated. We are continuously experiencing the rains, as you would have seen recently, and the reports are indicating that the rainy weather will subside from today to Thursday. However, predictions are that the heavy rains will return over the weekend. The Weather Services has also cautioned us that for the next 3 months, the province is likely to receive more rains than normal. The disaster teams have since been placed on full alert. Centers have been activated. A few incidents were reported from different district municipalities, but no fatalities have been reported so far. The following breakdown of the reported incidents we have received in our province so far: 10 houses in different wards under Umgeni local municipality were partially to be assisted by Umgeni local municipality with plastic sheeting, mattresses, blankets. 4 households in Oshabeni in the south of our province in Ugu district were also affected. Assessments were being done to ensure that relevant relief is dispatched to those communities that are affected. 1 lightning incident was reported in Ntuthuko, and another lightning incident in eMadlangeni under eMadlangeni municipality. Of course, we do want to indicate that a total number of 10 households in Ndwedwe municipalities have also been affected. Assessments are being conducted, and the relief will be provided as soon as the needs have been assessed of those communities. Midma and Henley dams in Umsunduzi local municipality are reported overflowing right now, and there is a potential risk of household downstream. The municipalities are doing the awareness monitoring programs. Mudslide was also reported in La Mesi under eThekwini Metro, where 30 to 40 houses are affected as we talk. The teams and the joint operation centers have been activated, and they remain on full alert to intervene. We do wish to appeal to our communities to heed to the weather warnings that are announced and that are reported now and again. I have bought that we now own as government. We are now moving forward. We'll be able to then at least be able to house some of the people that get affected by rains if we do have those buildings that we still need to occupy. To our communities to ensure that they heed to the to the weather warnings and to respond when they are being given a warning in case of disasters. So we wish to